An anti-trans Republican senator in Utah, State Senator J. Stewart Adams, had apparently helped to change a law to try to keep his relative out of jail for the rape of a 13-year-old, a child. Now, Adams, of course, swears now that he neither requested nor helped draft the 2024 law that aided his relative, but did ask for the relative's rape charges to be reconsidered in light of the new law. And guess what? He got his wish. Utah state law says that people under the age of 14 are not allowed to give consent for sex. The old statute required that 18-year-olds receive the first-degree child rape felony charge for having sex with anyone under 13 years of age or younger. Okay, the felony charge also required the rapist to register as a sex offender. The new law, however, allows accused rapists 18 years old and younger to receive a reduced third-degree felony charge of unlawful sexual activity if they're still enrolled in high school. And, of course, would also allow them to avoid jail time and avoid having to register as a sex offender. Of course. Now, before the new law passed, Adams' relative was charged with 2 counts of child rape and 2 counts of child sodomy, all first-degree felonies, and faced up to 25 years to life in prison, as well as a lifetime on the sex offender registry. The relative's plea deal with the state prosecutors, had reportedly reached an impasse prior to this law being passed, according to the Salt Lake Tribune. The new law was then drafted by the relative's defense attorney, Kara Tungaro, and sponsored by Senate Majority Leader Kirk Cullimore, after Adams reportedly confided in him about his relative's legal charges. So this guy has a meeting with the Senate Majority Leader and talks about, oh man, you know, my relative is facing some really bad charges, but don't worry, there's this bill, right? And if you were to advance that bill, I'd really, really appreciate it. And that's exactly what happened. The new law, SB 213, had adjusted various criminal sentences to address what they call unintended consequences or overly harsh or unfair outcomes in various criminal charges, Tungaro said. In this case, the accused rapist, she said, had participated in unlawful adolescent sexual activity, or the rape of a child, but hadn't been accused of using force, coercion, or other violent or manipulative means that would support more serious charges of rape, sodomy, or sexual assault. Attorneys pointed out that under the old law, if the accused rapist had been 17, his victim had been 14 instead of 13, the accused rapist would have been charged with a Class D misdemeanor rather than felony charges. Well, I mean, that makes a difference, though. It's that 18-year-old was having sex with a 13-year-old. That is statutory rape. They cannot consent. And you could also make the argument that this older man might have also engaged in grooming. You know, a groomer. I don't know the details of that, though. I don't know if he had specifically groomed this 13-year-old for sexual activity. I don't know. That said, the changes to the bill passed, and on March 19th, 2024, Utah Governor Spencer Cox had signed the bill into law. 2 months later, Tungaro informed Judge Michael DeRata, the judge who was then presiding over the case, that the accused rapist plea deal would be changed in light of this new law. As a result, the accused rapist ended up avoiding jail time and a lifetime on the sexual offender registry. Yeah. Adams, according to the state's legislative database, voted for SB 213, which passed almost entirely on party lines. All Senate Republicans voted for it. There was one Democrat that voted for it as well, whereas the rest of the Democrats who were present voted against it. Adams' relative then received a second-degree felony charge, which reduced his sentence quite a bit. In fact, He will only serve about 4 years probation, have to complete sex offender treatment, pay a $1,500 fine, and perform 120 hours of community service, which is a lot better for him than a possible 25 to life in prison. Okay, so here we are, though. Republicans clearly not protecting women and girls from predators. In fact, they're actually doing more to protect the predators from harsh sentences, which tracks completely. Now, how does the victim feel about this? Well, according to the unnamed victim's mother, she believes that the legal process has failed them. The mother said that the sexual abuse has made her child, an 8th grade student, more withdrawn, more careful, and less interested in being around her friends. Okay? The mother and child feel really defeated through this entire process, said the victim's attorney, Tamara Basquez. She told the judge presiding over the case, following the lighter sentencing for the accused child rapist. Quote, she feels like there's no protection for the innocence of her child, and that there's a disregard for how it has really affected them. They feel that there hasn't been an adequate consequences for any of the underlying conduct. The legal sentencing change was out of nowhere. I felt like I was punched in the gut. I feel like a law is the law, regardless of who you are. But that wasn't what was going on here. I feel like the 18-year-old just got special treatment, and nobody was going to say anything about it. Well, that's because that person, that predator, who happened to be a relative of a very powerful state congressman, one who, funny enough, had joined in with other Republicans to attack transgender people. That's right. Several months after voting for SB 213, Adams and other Utah state Republican leaders had issued a statement claiming that they were very, very concerned about the safety of women and girls in the context of transgender sports. Oh, of course, here we go. Transgender sports. Again, the gateway that predators are using to attack transgender people, while at the same time protecting actual predators. Of course. They said female athletes deserve the right to a safe playing field, fair competition, and equal opportunity. Institutions across the nation have failed to take action, thereby undermining vital protections and putting female athletes at risk. Bro, you do not care about athletes or protecting women and girls. Specifically, the Republican Party is currently protecting pedophiles. That is the reality here. Okay? Remember, this is the party that promotes child marriage. They constantly talk about how teen girls should get married young. That's right. They should really be focused on getting a husband instead of, going and getting an education. Oh, no, we don't like that. No, don't get an education. Your only education is how to please your husband. That's right. You should get married young and have babies. The 15 and 16-year-olds, that's when they're the most fertile. So that's when they should get married. But this is the same party that looks at any woman past the age of 30 and calls them useless and washed up. Seriously, how the hell can anyone not see that the current Republican Party is the pedo protection party? That's what they are. All this crap about, we got to go after the groomers and the pedophiles. All that was just projection to go after the transgender community. That's it. It ain't trans people or drag queens that are grooming the kids or protecting the pedophiles. No, it's Republicans. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.